Hey, what's up? My name's Tyler. I've been coming to New York for about three and a half years now with my own truck. And I've owned my own truck for about 4 years. I used to work at Cisco. I had developed comfortability driving some tight spaces then, but it was definitely a shock coming to New York for the first time, seeing what I had to do to get in here. But I got some hints and tips and ways to share if anybody's interested trying it for the first time, or maybe you've been doing it and you want to learn something that you might not already know. I'm still learning. One of the tools I use, I do use ChatGPT to ask about certain bridges and roads, because the parkways are all obviously no trucks, and they do mark them pretty well, but there is some other roads like Harlem River Drive that you can't be on as a truck. So I'm going to try and pull up some maps and show and point out the ways to get in here, and that's simple. There's three ways: George Washington, the Lincoln Tunnel, and the Verrazano Bridge. You can get to the Verrazano either the Goethals or the Outer Bridge. The Outer Bridge is tighter. The Goethals is nice and wide, but it's more populated depending on what time you come in here. Today, thankfully, I used the Lincoln Tunnel. I have a 12.6 trailer, and if you're under 13 feet, you can use the Lincoln Tunnel. Don't ever use the Holland Tunnel, because that's a no-go. But if you're under 13 feet and you got to go to Manhattan, the Lincoln Tunnel's the way. I'm going to show some clips of how I got in here this morning, and I'm delivering groceries. Show some clips of that, and just talk about what I do know. I don't know everything, but I know some stuff. I've been successfully coming here for 3 years, so there you go. Thanks for watching.
So I'm not so good at doing this. This is my first time trying to edit a video, but I tried to make 3 pointers. One that's red, yellow, and green for the 3 bridges. The red is the George Washington, the yellow is the Lincoln Tunnel, and the green is the Verrazano Bridge. Now, when I first started coming to New York, I was always just going to Brooklyn. So I was using the Verrazano Bridge a lot, and that connects there. That expressway is called the Brooklyn Queens Expressway, or New Yorkers call it the BQE. So if you ever go there for the first time and you're not used to driving somewhere where they don't know how to, mark their bridges, you'll be getting on the expressway and it'll say like, all trucks leave. There's a 12-foot bridge. And it'll freak you out, but you'll see the other trucks stay there, and it's like, that must not be right, Everybody warns you about New York about that, and it's true. I don't know why they can't take that sign down. It doesn't even make any sense, but yeah, it's there. But you're fine. You're fine with 13.6 or probably even higher. But that BQE isn't really the best way to get to Queens. Or if you want to go to that area, that's mostly just for if you want to be doing Brooklyn. Or I guess if you're 13.6 and you want to get into the lower part of Manhattan there, and you can't take the Lincoln Tunnel. But then if you see I have a little mark there under the Y in New York, that is the Manhattan Bridge. That's what you'll have to take if you want to get from the BQE to Manhattan. I had a route that's with the 13.6 trailer that I used to have to go from Brooklyn to Manhattan on a Friday night. I might try to get a clip of that sometime. That's pretty wild, coming over that into Manhattan. Those are some beautiful apartment buildings, and it's a very lively area right there. Lots of young people having fun. But anyway. Now, if you do want to get to the Queens area, the way I usually use, if you see there's a little blue oval That is the Whitestone Bridge. So the best way to get there down there is to go where that red pointer is, the George Washington, and then where the blue little oval is, the Whitestone, and then come down to 678 towards the airport. There's all kinds of trucks that have to go there all the time because of the airport. You see Amazon guys and that kind of stuff going there all the time. Now, the George Washington's the same way once you get past it. You'll see low bridge signs on the expressway. You know, par for the course of New York. You can just rest assured that none of the bridges are marked correctly. Now, if you got to go to Long Island, I had a couple routes I used to have to do out to Long Island. Just be careful if you don't use a trucking GPS like me. Just be careful you don't use those. I think it's called Cross Keys Parkway, and there's another parkway there. Long Island is full of parkways. That really flips my GPS out when I'm out that way. The best bridge to use, though, to get to Long Island is going to be the Throngs Neck. It's the little orange oval that I got there. And then you got to get off on 495, regardless of what your GPS says, if you want to go out that way. Because if not, you know, these are mostly just all parkways. And then, you know, if you got to get to like a little area out there, you got to navigate your way back with like the town roads and stuff. I don't know why they want the trucks to do that, but that's what you got to do. So, and there is another bridge that you can use. It's a little green mark. It's on the right hand side of Manhattan there. I think it's called the FDR or something, or the Robert Kennedy. It's some kind of Kennedy bridge. That I'm pretty sure is Highway 87. I don't use that. I haven't really had to use that one very much. Maybe if I have to go back to the George Washington Bridge to leave New York for the day, I might use that. But the problem is you always get told on that both ways. So I guess, you know, pick your poison. Depending on where you're at, though, it might be the quickest way to get there, and it might be worth the money. But other than that, I can't think of anything to really highlight. So if anybody has any good ideas, you know, leave them in the comments or send them to me. I'm always up for learning something new. There is one thing too I want to add. If anybody's in Manhattan and you need to get up to the George Washington Bridge to leave for the day, don't try and go over to that Kennedy Bridge. You can go up Broadway to the whole way to, I believe it's 179th Street, and there's a little Dominican restaurant there that I just put in my GPS to take to. I think it's called like Tierra y Mar or something like that, and there's a Gap outlet right underneath the George Washington. If you go up there, they don't even have really signs pointing to it, but you can actually take a left and skip all the traffic and get right on the George Washington Bridge at the bridge and get over to New Jersey, usually pretty scotch-free. The only thing that'll throw it off is if you go there and they're doing some kind of construction where that part of the bridge is being worked on. And then you got to find your way back over to that Kennedy Bridge. So, other than that, that's about it. So the rest of this video is going to be me doing my route. Hope you enjoy it.
success getting in here. Didn't really hit too much traffic. I got some time before this customer shows up. I'm gonna see if I can find some food. It looks like a bagel place over here. Hopefully they got eggs too. So the bag was good. Would have been better if I got bacon on it, but it was like $3 extra, and I was feeling cheap. So, but pretty much any block, you're gonna find some decent food. That's a plus. It's a beautiful morning. On my way to my next stop, it's on Broadway. I gotta go to the west side of Manhattan, and I'm making my own path because my GPS told me to go through Central Park. Don't do that. Tight, but it looks like I can get through. You're not supposed to turn on reds in New York, just FYI. And those two roads that go around the outside of the island, they're not called parkways, but they are like a parkway, so you can't use those. This road's tight, but it's doable. Got all blocked up. I had to come up to 57. Now this looks like a bigger street. I gotta get over though. There's one of these little bend things in the middle of the lane that I'm in. Hopefully somebody lets me over. You can always find at least one nice neighborhood. Sometimes the hardest part is just finding somebody to sign for you. Okay, I got one more on Broadway, and I actually skipped that one to come here because it said on the manifest that they weren't there until 8. So it's 7:47. Hopefully by the time I get there, they're ready for me, and then we got to go to a different part of town. We actually got to go to the south part called Chelsea. So, never delivered there before, so that'll be an adventure. side uptown. It's less busy, and lots of trees, and you can just double park easily. It looks like everybody's just kind of delivering, just blocking. There's 3 lanes, just blocking the right lane. Makes it nice and easy. Say what you will about New York. This is very peaceful and beautiful here in this part of town. Yeah, I just parked the groceries out there. That guy doesn't seem like he's worried about anybody taking them. There's like flowers falling off of this tree, and it's August. I'm not sure what kind of tree that is. But, alright, on. It's about 8:30 now. It's definitely getting more hectic overall. More people are out and about. This is when I like to be out of here. Unfortunately, I had to wait a little bit at my first stop, and, it's kind of out of order the way the route went, but I had to go uptown, and now I got to go back downtown. Probably had something to do with the stores, the time that they would be available for delivery. But let's just take Broadway down as far as we can go, and try and find this store without getting in an accident. And I'm gonna take the Lincoln Tunnel again to get out of here. Hopefully that's not too bad. I think I just got told to turn on this street. The GPS is saying similar tolls. I'm not seeing anything that I would think would be a toll. I thought it was just the bridges and the tunnels. But I guess some of these streets have easy pass scanners just to take a street. That's the stuff that's not cool about New York and why people don't want to come here. Staying in the middle lane. This is 9th Avenue that I'm on now, and it's nice and wide, and getting through this one pretty good. This might be the one that I paid the toll to get on now. I'll have to check my Easy Pass. I don't know how that works. But yeah, my GPS was trying to take me on the outside of the island there on what's called Hudson Parkway or something like that, and can't take that, so that's why I'm going this way. I think that's told to cars though, because the GPS was showing a little money sign. Chelsea. Things are a little more busy this way. I noticed some of the prices of things, like there was flowers up on the other side of town that were like big, beautiful bouquets for like $20-some. There was a single flower down here for 10. Now, I don't know if it's like that across the board, but this just feels like it's a little more stuffy, if that's the right word. And the parking authorities are a little more crazy down here too. Those guys told me no matter where I park, they'll try and give me a ticket. So hopefully I get out of here without one. But if I do get one, the broker that I work for, I guess they pay for it. I've never got one before, but we'll find out. Trying to find my way to the Lincoln Tunnel now. It's definitely getting busier and busier by the minute. Let's get out of here. The guys that drive in New York every day probably find this comical because they don't think anything of this. But for like, I'm from Harrisburg and I do all kinds of routes going all kinds of different places. So I guess that's why it's more of a novelty to me.